On August 11, 1911, an employee of the Louvre Museum was completing his rounds. It was a sweltering hot summer day in Paris. He turned to leave the main hall when he noticed something was off. It's an empty space hung where the world's most famous painting once did, the Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci. Within seconds, visitors were swarming around the space, whispering about the whereabouts of the missing masterpiece. And it wasn't long before authorities were called. The theft of the Mona Lisa is one of the most audacious art heists in history. And today, we're going to tell you how it went down. When news broke that the Mona Lisa had been stolen, the art world was thrown into chaos. Who could have pulled off such a brazen heist? What was their motive? Would the priceless painting ever be recovered? Let's take a deep dive into this legendary mystery. In the heart of Paris, the Mona Lisa had been captivating audiences for over 100 years. Since its unveiling in 1503, people from all corners of the globe had flocked to the Louvre to marvel at Leonardo da Vinci's enigmatic masterpiece. But now its place on the wall was occupied by a crudely scrunched piece of cardboard bearing the words "Work in Progress." As investigators combed through the crime scene, they discovered that the painting had been detached from its frame and removed, sometime during the early hours of August when the museum was closed. But how could someone slip past the guards unnoticed and escape with such a priceless artifact? The museum boasted intricate alarm systems, including pressure pads beneath the carpet and a guard station just feet away. Somehow the thief had managed to evade detection. Adding to the intrigue, there were no signs of forced entry or struggle, suggesting that the theft was meticulously planned. But who was behind the audacious heist? Vincenzo Peruggia, an Italian handyman, found himself in the eye of the storm. Peruggia, an ardent Italian nationalist, harbored resentment towards France for its perceived cultural appropriation of Italian art. He saw the theft of the Mona Lisa as an opportunity to rectify this perceived injustice and return the masterpiece to Italy. However, the police dismissed Peruggia's alibi, pointing out that he had been at work at the time of the theft. Despite mounting evidence, Peruggia's determination never wavered. He remained convinced of his innocence, steadfastly denying any involvement in the heist. As the investigation intensified, attention shifted to another suspect, a well-known art dealer named Joseph Duger. With ties to organized crime, Duger's shady reputation preceded him. Some believed he had orchestrated the theft as a publicity stunt to draw attention to his own collection of art. However, despite being the prime suspect, Duger managed to elude the authorities, disappearing without a trace. The Mona Lisa remained missing, its whereabouts a tantalizing mystery that captivated the public imagination. For 2 years, the painting's disappearance left a void in the Louvre's hallowed halls. During this time, the museum experienced a surge in visitors, many of whom came to see the empty frame that had become a symbol of the impossible heist. Meanwhile, the mastermind behind the theft remained elusive, their identity known only to themselves and their accomplices. But as the years passed, whispers began to circulate, casting doubt on Peruggia's supposed innocence. In 1913, a dramatic turn of events shattered the prevailing narrative. A simple art enthusiast stumbled upon a familiar face in the pages of an illustrated magazine. The Mona Lisa had been recovered, but not in Italy, as many had speculated. Instead, it was in the possession of Vincenzo Peruggia, the very handyman whose innocence had been so steadfastly proclaimed. This unexpected discovery sent shockwaves through Paris, turning the spotlight back onto Peruggia and his dubious alibi. With the painting recovered, Peruggia's facade of innocence crumbled. Revealing the cunning mastermind behind the audacious heist, confronted with irrefutable evidence, Peruggia confessed to the crime, admitting that he had acted alone. His motive an unwavering belief that the painting rightfully belonged in Italy. But as the full weight of his actions sank in, remorse washed over him. The international outcry and condemnation had made it clear that he had overstepped, stealing from the world's collective heritage. Peruggia's confession shed light on the meticulous planning that had gone into the theft. He had studied the layout of the Louvre, noting the guards' patrol routes and the location of the pressure pads. With patience and precision, he had waited for the perfect moment to strike, knowing that the painting's bulk and weight would make it difficult to transport. Once removed, Peruggia's journey from the museum was fraught with challenges. Paris, still buzzing with activity, was a maze of streets and bridges. He navigated the city's labyrinthine paths, clutching the painting close, hoping to evade the watchful eyes of the authorities. Eventually he reached his destination, hiding the Mona Lisa in the apartment of his accomplice. But his triumph was short-lived. Perugia's arrest sent shockwaves through Paris, marking a turning point in the investigation. The police, eager to recover the painting, descended on Perugia's apartment, where they made a grim discovery. The Mona Lisa was not there. Faced with mounting pressure, Perugia revealed the painting's whereabouts, leading the police to its hiding place in an old storage room. With the recovery of the Mona Lisa, questions arose about the security measures at the Louvre. How could such an audacious theft have occurred without anyone noticing? The museum's alarm system, once seen as impenetrable, was scrutinized, revealing a series of vulnerabilities. The pressure pads, designed to trigger an alarm when stepped on, had been rendered ineffective by a simple wooden cleat. Perugia had placed the cleat on the pad near the painting, tricking the system into thinking it hadn't been activated. The guards, too, had fallen prey to complacency. One guard, tasked with watching the Mona Lisa, had dozed off, lulled by the rhythmic ticking of the nearby clock. Another guard on patrol had taken a leisurely detour, allowing Perugia the precious time he needed to remove the painting. In the aftermath of the theft, swift and decisive action was taken to bolster security at the Louvre. New alarm systems were installed, patrol routes were revised, and guard training was intensified. The museum became a fortress, determined to safeguard its invaluable treasures from future threats. The trial of Vincenzo Perugia captivated the attention of the art world and beyond. As Perugia stood in the dock, his defense attorney painted him as a patriot driven by a noble cause, a man who had sought to return the Mona Lisa to its rightful home in Italy. But the prosecution was quick to counter this narrative. They portrayed Perugia as a common thief, motivated solely by personal gain. The trial became a battle of narratives, with each side passionately defending their interpretation of events. Ultimately, Perugia was convicted and sentenced to 15 months in prison, a punishment that was widely seen as too lenient for the gravity of his crime. As Perugia's sentence came to an end, he was met with a hero's welcome in Italy. Crowds gathered outside the prison, cheering and celebrating his return. To them, Perugia was a national hero, the man who had dared to defy the French and bring the Mona Lisa back to Italy. However, not all Italians shared this sentiment. Many saw Perugia's actions as an embarrassment, a stain on Italy's cultural heritage. The controversy surrounding Perugia's theft continued long after he had served his sentence. His audacity and cunning became the stuff of legend, inspiring books, films, and plays. One can only imagine the daring plan that must have formed in his mind. The theft of the Mona Lisa remains a defining moment in art history. It is a testament to both the allure of the masterpiece and the lengths to which some will go to possess it. Perugia's audacious heist shook the world, exposing the vulnerabilities of even the most secure institutions and challenging our perception of what is possible. The Mona Lisa had returned home, but its legacy had been irrevocably altered by the audacious man who had dared to steal it. And with that, today's episode comes to an end. But before we go, we want to extend a special thanks to our supporters whose names you can see on the screen right now. We value your support, and if you want to join our amazing community, you can check the link in the description. Your support helps us continue producing these videos, and we can't thank you enough for that. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more thrilling historical tales. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.